Most of us assume the most powerful healing meals were created recently by a nutritionist or discovered in a lab. But the truth is different. They were recorded thousands of years ago. When you view this text not merely as a religious guide, but as a precise health map, everything shifts. It outlines specific foods, clever combinations, and preparations that kept early populations physically strong. These survival meals helped them function at a level that makes our modern processed diets look totally broken. Today, you and I are going to unpack 10 of these meals together. Stay with me, because number 4 merges two ingredients that researchers are actively studying right now for their immune-boosting synergy. And wait until you see number 1, the final meal, comes directly from a passage. Deuteronomy, where 7 specific foods are listed by name. When scientists analyzed these ingredients together, they found a biological synergy so perfect it defies pure coincidence. 10 meals, thousands of years of bodily wisdom. Let us get right into it. Number 10 is the cucumber mint yogurt bowl, a cooling meal that rebuilt the human gut. In Numbers, chapter 11, the wandering Israelites list the exact foods they miss from Egypt. Among them are cucumbers, leeks, and garlic. Look at this biologically. These were not luxury items, they were daily staples. In a hot, punishing climate that made them essential survival foods, cucumbers are over 96% water, in a region where heat exhaustion was a daily reality and safe water sources were totally unreliable. Eating cucumbers was never a simple flavor preference. It was a strict hydration strategy. They contain natural anti-inflammatory compounds, silica that supports connective tissue, and vitamin K for strong bones. But when you combine sliced cucumbers with fermented goat milk yogurt, the biological effect changes entirely. Goat milk has a different protein structure than modern cow milk. It uses a gentler casein type. Modern research shows this creates far less inflammation in the gut lining and is much easier to digest. Once fermented into yogurt, it becomes a living food packed with bacteria that colonize the digestive tract, train our physical immune responses, and produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce intestinal inflammation. Now add fresh mint, one of the most trusted healing herbs in the ancient world, and something inside the body shifts. Mint activates receptors in your mouth and stomach that trigger a real relaxation response in the digestive system. It reduces painful spasms, eases bloating, and calms the gut in ways modern science has now confirmed. This simple bowl hydrates the human gut. It cools down an overworked nervous system. The people who ate this every day in the desert were not doing it just for the pleasant flavor. They ate it because they felt the physical shift in their own bodies. Number 9 is the garlic and herb lentil soup, literally an immune protocol served in a bowl. If you were tasked with designing the most immune-supportive meal using only foods from the biblical world, you would build exactly this. Lentils deliver complete plant protein, slow-burning physical energy, and a dense range of minerals. They provide the exact fiber needed to feed the gut bacteria that run a massive portion of your immune system. But the real shift happens when you add garlic. I mean adding it generously, exactly the way the ancient world actually used it. That takes this meal from excellent to exceptional bodily medicine. The moment a clove of garlic is crushed or chopped, a potent natural compound called allicin is created instantly. This chemical fights back against a massive range of physical threats, directly targeting harmful bacteria, aggressive viruses, clinging fungi, and hidden parasites. Modern research confirms that eating garlic regularly reduces how often you get sick and how hard illness hits your body. It naturally lowers blood pressure, cuts harmful cholesterol, and offers documented protection for your liver. Egyptian medical texts list garlic in over 20 separate medicinal preparations. This was never folk superstition. It was a strict record of physical outcomes tracked across generations. To push the healing benefits further, they added cumin, a spice that lowers blood sugar spikes and wakes up digestive enzymes. Then comes coriander, offering soothing effects on an irritated gut lining. Finish the bowl with a pour of real olive oil to make every fat-soluble nutrient bioavailable, and this completely changes everything about the chemistry of what you are eating. You are not just feeding a hungry stomach. You are running a daily maintenance protocol on your immune system without even thinking about it. This soup has existed for 5,000 years. It does not need a modern rebranding. It just needs a pot on your stovetop. Moving to number 8, the pomegranate and barley grain bowl. This is the healing fruit carved directly into the temple. King Solomon's temple had 200 carved pomegranates resting on its massive pillars. The high priest's robe was decorated with them in blue, purple, and scarlet threads. This exact fruit was worked into the most sacred architecture of the ancient world, and modern antioxidant science has spent decades trying to fully understand why. Pomegranates hold a rare natural compound found almost nowhere else in nature. Once this fruit hits your digestive tract, it breaks down into substances that show powerful anti-inflammatory and strong anti-cancer effects in lab research. Studies confirm that pomegranate juice naturally reduces blood pressure, shields delicate arteries from damage, and rapidly drops key markers of inflammation across the body. The sheer concentration of these compounds easily outranks red wine, green tea, and blueberries. Build this into a hearty bowl using whole barley as the base, and you seamlessly combine the cholesterol-lowering power of the grain with the intense cardiovascular protection of the pomegranate. Scatter in a handful of fresh medicinal herbs and dress it with real olive oil, and you suddenly have a meal that addresses heart health, gut health, and cellular inflammation all at once. Add a handful of walnuts or crumbled sheep feta, and the nutritional profile deepens even further. You get omega-3s, clean protein, and calcium layered into something that still tastes like a great meal, not bitter medicine. Here is what makes this truly remarkable. The ancient people who ate this did not know the chemical names of the active compounds. They had no sterile laboratories, no double-blind trials, and no medical journals. They simply built pomegranates into their most sacred spaces because, generation after generation, they physically observed what happened to the bodies of those who ate them regularly versus those who did not. Sometimes the oldest observations of the physical body are the most reliable ones we have. If you and I are agreeing on how simple real nutrition can be, take a second to hit like and subscribe. You do not want to miss what we uncover next. Number 7 is dates stuffed with nuts. This is the ultimate desert survival food that science finally caught up to. The date palm is mentioned more than any other fruit tree in biblical texts, and that was never just poetry, it was pure physical survival. Traders, soldiers, and pilgrims crossing the brutal wilderness carried dates because they kept their muscles moving when nothing else worked. Dates hold natural glucose and fructose that hit the bloodstream fast to deliver rapid energy. But unlike refined sugar, that energy arrives naturally packaged with dense fiber. Magnesium, potassium, copper, manganese, and B vitamins. Multiple clinical trials show that women who ate dates regularly in their final weeks of pregnancy experienced significantly faster, physically easier deliveries. Studies also show clear benefits for restoring iron levels and building bone density. Now, stuff those dates with almonds, walnuts, or pistachios, all staples throughout the ancient world. When you combine them, your internal chemistry changes. The healthy fats and clean protein from the nuts actively slow down your gut's absorption of the natural sugars. This smooths out the energy release and entirely prevents the harsh blood sugar spike you would get from eating dates alone. It physically turns a rapid fuel into sustained bodily fuel. Pistachios protect your eyes and feed the good bacteria in your gut more than almost any other nut. Walnuts deliver rich omega-3 fatty acids, while almonds add vitamin E for physical repair. There is a real biological reason why Ramadan fasting has been broken with dates for over 1,000 years. The human body absorbs them gently and completely without shocking the system. Stuffed with nuts, this is not just a snack. It is a fully portable nutritional survival system. The ancient world figured that out long before anyone ran a single lab trial to confirm it. Moving to number 6, the grape and goat cheese plate with fresh herbs. This is the exact combination immunologists are studying right now. The vine is one of the most spiritually loaded images in all of Scripture. Noah plants a vineyard as his first act after surviving the flood. Grapes appear at the Passover table. Throughout the Song of Solomon, and in massive moments of the Old and New Testaments, this was never incidental. Something physical about this plant kept drawing human attention. Fresh grapes hold natural compounds that actively help your body repair cellular damage and stay healthy longer. Most of that healing goodness is locked inside the tough skin and seeds, so eating them whole is the best way to extract it. You get hydrating fiber, heavy potassium, and key vitamins in one simple snack. Now pair those grapes with fresh goat cheese, which is a highly concentrated, aged form of probiotic-rich goat milk. Then, you just add fresh herbs and a handful of olives. The compounds in grapes, paired with the good bacteria in fermented cheese, create a biological combination researchers are actively studying. They are tracking direct physical benefits to deep gut health and the immune system, eaten together. These compounds do something inside the body that neither accomplishes alone. Ancient people paired these exact foods for thousands of years before science caught up. The herbs physically help fight off harmful bacteria in the gut. The olives bring heavy anti-inflammatory benefits to the blood. The best part is that this healing plate takes zero effort to prepare. It relies entirely on simple, whole ingredients. Exactly the way our bodies have processed them for thousands of years. What simply looks what looks like a casual snack is actually a precisely layered system. You and I are going to unpack this together. The ancients didn't need a lab to explain the mechanism. They experienced the outcome and relied on it for thousands of years. Consider number 5. Roasted lamb with dates and herbs. This was a feast meal engineered to rebuild the human body. Lamb is the most ceremonially significant animal in Scripture, from Passover to Abraham, but its presence was not just symbolic. It was a biological necessity for people living brutal, physical lives. Slow-roasted lamb acts as a nutrient bomb, packed with B vitamins like B12, which keeps your nervous system firing smoothly. And B6, crucial for helping your body break down food, along with riboflavin for steady energy at the cellular level. This meat is incredibly rich in bioavailable zinc. Far easier for your system to use than plant-based zinc, acting as a master key for immunity and rapid healing. Then there is the iron, which is absorbed up to 3 times more efficiently than iron from plants. Very few single ingredients on Earth do this much heavy lifting for your biology all at once. For anyone recovering from severe illness, exhausted by relentless overwork, or running on empty after months of punishing labor, this specific meal acted as a profound restorative treatment. It rebuilt exactly what a harsh ancient life had stripped away. These early communities did not need a clinical diagnosis to see when someone was fading, and they did not need a written prescription to fix it. They had this sacred meat. The dates on the plate were never just sweet decoration. They supply natural sugars for rapid energy, fiber for digestion, and specific fruit acids that physically enhance your body's ability to absorb the lamb's iron. This synergy makes the two foods together vastly more nutritious than either eaten alone, an effect modern clinical trials confirm. Roasted over rosemary, thyme, and hyssop, the herbs infuse the meat with volatile antimicrobial compounds, making rich animal fat much easier to process. This was never accidental seasoning. It was precise, accumulated health wisdom, showing how to make potent food safer and more effective. Passed down purely through the hands of every ancient generation that cooked this exact meal before us. Number 4. Figs and almonds, the biological healing that preceded modern medicine. Stick with me, because there is a detail buried in scripture that almost everyone walks right past. When King Hezekiah was dying from a severe infection, medica Eli, likely a dangerous abscess, the prophet Isaiah did not just pray, he issued a directive, ordering a thick paste of figs pressed directly onto the wound. The king recovered. Centuries later, science finally caught up to this text. Figs contain ficin, a powerful enzyme that actively breaks down damaged tissue and accelerates wound healing. They are packed with antimicrobial compounds. In lab studies, fresh fig latex strongly inhibits bacterial growth. Isaiah's ancient prescription turned out to be biochemically bulletproof. Though typically eaten as daily food rather than emergency medicine, figs are among the most mineral-dense fruits on Earth. They are packed with pectin, fiber that directly feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and loaded with magnesium, potassium, calcium, and B vitamins. In a world without modern supplements, figs were a functional multivitamin. Pair them with almond flour, ground exactly the way ancient kitchens prepared them, and the biological combination becomes staggeringly powerful. Almonds deliver vitamin E in its most usable form, a fat-soluble antioxidant that shields your cells from everyday damage. They also inject magnesium, healthy fats, dense protein, and the exact type of rough fiber that feeds the good bacteria in your digestive tract. Clinical studies prove that eating almonds regularly drives down harmful cholesterol, blunts sudden blood sugar spikes, and dramatically improves the diversity of your microbiome. This is where the ancient text becomes fascinating as a health map. The delicate almond blossom was carved directly into the sacred menorah. Aaron's rod, the ultimate sign of divine authority, budded with almonds. The ancients built their most sacred artifacts around this food because they innately understood, long before modern science, that it represented absolute biological vitality. Figs and almonds together, simple, ancient, and easily one of the most nutritionally complete survival pairings ever assembled from just 2 basic ingredients. Number 3 on our ancient health map. Chickpea and olive salad. This represents 10,000 years of hard human evidence. There is no single dramatic scripture moment for chickpeas. No blinding miracle, no grand vision, no prophet specifically calling them out. They were simply always there, silently sustaining life. Ground into dense flour, boiled into thick stews, and eaten whole throughout the ancient Near East for at least 10,000 years. That quiet endurance is the real story here. Foods do not persist across 100 centuries unless something inside them genuinely fortifies the human body. Chickpeas have a glycemic index so incredibly low that they produce almost zero blood sugar spike, despite being heavily packed with carbohydrates. Their thick, resistant starch feeds specific gut bacteria to reduce deep systemic inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and strip away LDL cholesterol. The dense protein and fiber create a physical fullness signal in the brain lasting for hours. This is where the dish does something biologically remarkable, dressed heavily with cold-pressed olive oil. The combination delivers natural compounds that fiercely fight inflammation, shield your arteries, and keep the cardiovascular system pumping smoothly. Toss in fresh herbs like hyssop, raw mint, or crushed coriander, and you instantly layer in natural antibacterial and digestive medicine. Most modern readers completely miss this reality. The robust health of ancient populations was never built on some trendy, single superfood. It was built on relentless consistency. Chickpeas at the table every single day for decades. Golden olive oil poured over absolutely everything. Medicinal herbs added without a second thought, because that was simply how human fuel was prepared. Modern research shows that eating legumes regularly is the single dietary habit most linked to healthy aging worldwide. Not an expensive supplement, not a complex health program. Just beans, eaten faithfully, day after day. This changes everything about how we read the ancient text. they did not need a modern clinical study. They had 10,000 years of hard results, written directly into how long their people lived and how relentlessly their bodies could work. The simplest ingredients, eaten with absolute consistency, turned out to be the most biologically powerful ones. Number 2, barley bread with olive oil, the daily staple that was actually slow-drip medicine. We view bread as cheap filler today, but the ancient world understood it as the absolute foundation of human survival. The specific bread they ate every single day performed remarkable repairs inside the body. When Jesus feeds the 5,000 in the Gospel of John, those loaves are not made of soft wheat. They are dense, coarse barley. This was the heavy fuel of poor farmers, hardened soldiers, and laborers, eaten endlessly for centuries. That exact repetition was the secret. Barley contains the highest concentration of beta-glucan fiber found in any grain on Earth. This natural compound is so medically well documented for lowering cholesterol and stabilizing blood sugar that modern food manufacturers are legally permitted to print heart health claims on products containing it. Inside you, this fiber forms a thick, slow-moving gel in the digestive tract. It directly feeds beneficial gut bacteria, blunts the rapid absorption of glucose, and physically pulls dangerous LDL cholesterol out of your bloodstream more effectively than almost anything else in nature. The genius of this ancient habit isn't just the barley, it is the chemistry of the preparation. Stone-ground, whole-grain barley bread, baked with heavy pours of olive oil worked deeply into the raw dough and smeared over the warm crust, delivers a medicinal payload the barley alone cannot achieve. Raw, extra virgin olive oil contains a natural compound most people have never heard of. This biological reality stops people in their tracks. It behaves almost identically to ibuprofen inside your body. It targets the same anti-inflammatory pathway, reducing dangerous inflammatio end signals with zero chemical side effects or stomach irritation. It provides a steady, daily lowering of the chronic inflammation that drives nearly every major disease. This entirely changes how you read that simple loaf. This was the everyday survival bread of ancient prophets and working fishermen, dense, dark, and drenched in pure olive oil. It was never meant to be fancy. It was highly functional daily medicine, eaten relentlessly for an entire lifetime. It was simply one of the most highly effective cardiovascular and metabolic interventions ever practiced, without anyone needing to call it medicine. Finally, number 1 on our map. The 7 sacred foods feast bowl commanded in Deuteronomy. This completely changes how you read the text. In chapter 8, verse 8, God speaks to Moses about entering the promised land. Rather than using vague, poetic terms of abundance, the text becomes razor-sharp. It lists 7 specific foods. Not a region, not a climate, but 7 distinct biological fuels listed by name: wheat, barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates. Scholars have read this passage for millennia simply as a description of agricultural fertility, poetic evidence that the dirt was rich and capable of sustaining human life. That basic historical reading is correct. But modern science has noticed something else hiding in plain sight. Eaten together, these 7 foods form one of the most complete nutritional combinations ever assembled in a single meal. The biochemical way interlock inside the body is almost impossible to dismiss as blind coincidence. Wheat and barley supply complementary proteins, thick beta-glucan fiber, essential B vitamins, and slow-burning energy that heavily sustains extreme physical performance across countless hours without a single blood sugar crash. Grapes then bring a powerful set of natural compounds that physically switch on the body's own deep cellular repair processes. They actively protect the human heart and the entire cardiovascular system at multiple biological levels all at once. Most of us completely miss the profound nutritional design hidden right in these ancient texts. Let us look at this map together, shall we? Take the humble fig. When you examine it through the lens of human biology, you realize it supplies the exact minerals, magnesium, potassium, and calcium that grains simply lack. It is as if this botanical blueprint was drawn with those precise dietary gaps in mind. Then you have pomegranates. These crimson seeds deliver an antioxidant payload that outranks nearly every fruit on Earth, giving your gut raw compounds it converts into deep cellular medicine. And whole olives provide vitamin E and oleocanthal, perfectly packaged in healthy fats that literally prepare the stomach to absorb every single fat-soluble nutrient that follows. Those olive fats are the master key, making every nutrient in your meal dramatically more bioavailable. The olive does not just offer its own healing properties, it unlocks the cellular benefits of everything around it. Add to this the sweetness of dates, giving the body rapid natural energy. Balanced by thick fiber that stops blood sugar spikes, dates also deliver ancient antimicrobial tannins and soothing potassium. Now here is where the ancient map truly shines. When modern researchers analyze these 7 biblical foods as an interconnected system, they discover a flawless puzzle. The exact amino acid profiles of the fruits repair the protein gaps left by the grains, while the fat-soluble vitamins of the olive pair seamlessly with the water-soluble vitamins from the fresh harvest. These ancient anti-inflammatory compounds work synergistically inside the human body, producing an immune defense far stronger than any single plant could generate alone. Build this exact bowl at home. Lay down a thick base of whole grain barley and ancient wheat. Scatter fresh grapes, sliced figs, and bright pomegranate seeds over the top. Toss in a handful of whole olives with sweet dates on the side. Finally, take cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil and pour it generously over everything. Eat this, and you will feel a biological truth our ancestors knew without a single clinical trial. This ancient text was never just a poetic description of a fertile land. It was a calculated medical prescription for human longevity. And today, 3,000 years later, modern cancer researchers, heart specialists, immune experts, and gut doctors keep arriving at the exact biological conclusions the ancient Israelites already knew. 10 distinct meals, all pointing to one truth: these people were not primitive. They were reading the map of the human body, paying close attention to their health, the soil, and the survival nutrition, keeping them strong across generations. The gap between true medicinal food and cheap grocery store imitations matters deeply. Genuine olive oil, raw unfiltered honey, and uncorrupted ancient grains are simply not the same processed products sitting in an average supermarket aisle. If you are ready to embrace this survival diet, pick one healing meal from our ancient list and prepare it this week. Drop your choice directly in the comments below. I genuinely love seeing exactly which of these ancient nutritional maps you and I are choosing to explore first. This is not just about cooking, it is about reclaiming a forgotten blueprint for human health. If you found a piece of true wisdom in this breakdown today, please hit that like button. And make sure to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the deep historical and biological dives we put out next. And listen, if your mind is still hungry for more of these ancient survival secrets, I want you to stick around. We have the next investigation already queued up and ready to play right now. Honestly, the medical truths we uncover in that one might just shift your perspective on ancient healing even more than this video did.